Hello, welcome to this session on must-do sets for CAT LRDI preparation. Whether you have just started or you're trying to put finishing touches to your CAT preparation, these are sets which you should not be missing on your journey. Now, today we'll be looking at mixed bag questions. Now, these are questions from all areas of LRDI. These are again relevant sets. We have handpicked them. I would suggest take these questions as a sectional test. The link for these tests are available in the description of this video. Please take this as a sectional test because it will enhance your skills of picking between 5 sets or 6 sets or something like that. Choosing between easy set or a difficult set or sets which you like and sets which you don't like is the most important skill and the most determining factor on succeeding in the LRDI section. How well you can judge sets, how well you can leave sets will decide how well you actually end up scoring in the LRDI section. If you are running short of time, obviously you can skip to the relevant sets. Each of the videos which you'll be releasing will have links available in the description where if you click on it, you can skip to the relevant set.
This is an easy to moderate level question on quant based reasoning. This came up in CAT 2018 in the second slot. Let's see what this says. Each visitor to an amusement park needs to buy a ticket. The tickets can be platinum, gold or economy. Visitors are classified as old, middle-aged or young. The following facts are known about the visitors and the ticket sales. So you have some information. So you have to classify on the basis of platinum, gold and economy, and you have old, middle-aged and young. The total is 140. Right? And then you have some information which is given about who, what, how many, etc. And then you have if, etc. So definitely you will not be able to get all the answers that completely. You'll have to solve part of it and then go to the questions to resolve the rest of it. So let's draw this table and try to work it out. Total of 140 tickets are sold. Okay. The number of middle-aged visitors is twice the number of young visitors, twice the number of old visitors. And the young visitors is twice the number of middle-aged visitors. So old to middle-aged to young. So if this is 1, this is 2, this will be 4. So the split is already known. So this should be 20, 40 and 80, adding up to 180. Right, this is taken care of. Young visitors bought 38 out of the 55 economy tickets. So you have 55 out of which 38 are bought here. And they bought half the number of platinum tickets. So if this is X, this should be 2X. The number of gold tickets bought by old visitors was equal to the number of economy tickets bought by old visitors. So this is Y. This should also be Y. Okay. Right. So I've used this. Now let's try to resolve this. This will be 17. So this should be 17 minus Y. Okay. This should be 20 minus 2y. Right. If I add this column, this will be x minus this. So this will be x plus 2y minus 20. This should be 85 minus 2x. This will be 42 minus x. And this will be this plus this minus, so it will be 43 minus x plus y. Okay, which is what you should get here also. 40 minus x plus 2y minus 20 plus 17 minus y. So this goes, this is 40 minus x plus y minus 3, which is 43 minus x plus y. So whether you add horizontally or vertically. So this is what we have, right? Let's go to the questions. We don't have any other information. Let's go to the question to solve this. Okay. First one says if the number of old visitors buying platinum tickets, this one, was equal to number of middle-aged buying platinum tickets. These two are also equal. Then what could be the total number of platinum tickets sold? Okay, now this is half of it. Total platinum, if this is 38, this should be 90, which means these two should also add up to 90, and they should be split evenly. So it will be 9.5, which is not possible. Same will be a problem with 34. This will become 17, this will become 17, so this is out. Okay, now let's try 36. If I put 36 here, this will become 18, these two will become 9 and 9. If I put 9 here, right, balance will be 2y should be equal to 20 minus 9, which is 11, which is not possible. So 36 is also out, 32 will be our correct choice. Right? Okay, let's go to the next question. If the number of old visitors buying platinum tickets, this one, was equal to the number of middle-aged visitors buying economy tickets, then what can be the number of old visitors buying gold tickets? You need to find the value of y. Okay, so 20 minus 2y equals 17 minus y. If I rewrite this, you'll get y equals 3. So that's your answer. Let's try the next one. Okay, number of old visitors buying gold tickets is strictly greater than the number of young visitors buying gold tickets. So y is greater than 42 minus x, which means x plus y should be greater than 42. What is the number of middle-aged visitors buying gold tickets? What is the value of this? Now x plus y has to be more than 42, so it can be 43 or 44 or something like that. Now if you look at this, 43 minus x plus y, the minimum value here is 43. If I put 44, this will be negative, which is not possible. So I'll have to put 43. If I put 43 here, 0 will be a correct answer. Right? And the last one, which of the following must be false? Definitely false. Number of old and middle-aged visitors buying economy tickets were equal. Old and middle-aged buying economy tickets. Old and middle-aged buying economy tickets are equal. So y should be equal to 17 minus y, which means 2y should be equal to 17, which is not possible. So first one is the false one. Right. So pretty straightforward set, right? I mean, once you fill up these values, the rest of the questions are pretty easy to solve. That completes this set.
Please subscribe to our YouTube channel. Click on the notifications button so that you are notified when we are releasing our next set of videos. Please do like and follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn. If you want to connect with us, you can connect with us through WhatsApp and Telegram as well. All the relevant links are available in the description of this particular video. This is perhaps the longest and the most tedious set in this particular slot in CAT 2017. Okay, let's see how it progressed. 8 people, A, B, G, J, K, M, P, T. They are going from Delhi to Kolkata by a flight operated by Cheap Air. Okay, so there are 8 people who are going there. In a flight, seating is arranged in 30 rows, numbered 1 to 30, each consisting of 6 seats marked by letters A to F from left to right, respectively. Seats A to C are on the left of aisle, the passage running from the front of the aircraft to the back. Okay, so it's something like this. So on this side you have A, B, C, D, E, F. So if you are looking from here, this is left, this is right. Okay, so you have 1, 2, 3 till 30. So this is roughly the arrangement. This is your aisle. Okay, A and F are window seats, C and D are aisle seats, B and E are middle seats. Okay, seats marked by consecutive letters are called consecutive seats. So E and F will be consecutive seats, D and E will be consecutive seats, even C and D will be consecutive seats. Even though there is an aisle separating them, according to the definition, seats next to each other are consecutive letters. Okay, so this needs to be taken care of. A seat number is a combination of the row number followed by letter indicating the position of the row. Example 1A is the left window seat, 12E is the right middle seat, and so on. Okay, cheap air charges 1000 extra for seats in row 1, 12, 13 as they have extra leg room. 2 to 10 it charges 300 extra for window, 500 extra for aisle. 11 to 40, 11 and 14 to 20 it charges 200 extra for window and 400 extra for aisle. Okay, so you have additional charges, and then you have some information like how many people are sitting where and so on. Okay, so instead of reading all this, I've just summarized the information. Okay, so this is sort of a table that we need to fill up. Okay, now let's see what we can get out of this. Okay, 8 friends occupy 6 different rows. So within 8 people will be sitting in 6 different rows. There are 3 window, 4 aisle and 1 middle row. Now 8 people in 6 rows. This is possible if you have 3 people in 1 row and 1 person's in 5 individuals in individual rows. So that will be 8. The second way out is 2 rows having 2 people each and 4 rows having 1 person each. So these are the 2 scenarios to sit 8 people in 6 rows. We also know how much extra amount they paid. We also know the type of seats that they sat. Okay. J, A, B sit on seats with the same letter in consecutive rows in increasing order. All 3 paid different amounts. Okay. J, A, B sit on seats with same letter. So they are sitting on the same column, so to speak, but they all paid different amount and they're sitting one after the other. So for example, they might be sitting 1, 2, 3, but in 1, 2, 3, 2 and 3, they are going to pay the same amount. 1, it's a different amount. Okay. The next change will be at 10, 11, 12. At 10, 11, 12, they'll all pay different amounts. Window 300, then 200, then 1000, it's possible. Right? Aisle also it's possible. So 10, 11, 12 is one such scenario. Let's see if there is something else. 11, 12, 13, not possible. 12, 13, okay. 12, 13, no. 13, 14, 15, no. Okay. The only arrangement possible is 10, 11, 12. So J sits in 10. A sits in 12. A sits in 11. And B sits in 12. Because B sits in 12, he will pay 1000 rupees. He's going to pay 1000 rupees. Okay, B is going to pay 1000 rupees. Okay, these two cannot sit on aisle seats because then this guy will also sit on the aisle seat. So this has to be either window, they cannot sit in the middle seats because these two will be free seats then. So it has to be window or aisle. It has to be window or aisle. Okay, G was next to K, M was next to J. M was next to J, G was next to K. So there are two sets where you have two people sitting in two different rows, right? So this scenario is not possible. This is the scenario we are looking at. Two people sitting in 2 rows, 2 rows with 2 people each and 4 rows with 1 person each. And this is 1 row. The other one is G and K. We don't know how much is G and K. Which means P and T should be sitting on different rows, right? 4 into 1. Now P and T are sitting in the seats with the same letter. So they're sitting in the same column. So P and T are sitting in the same column. So if this guy is middle, this guy is also the middle. If this is in E, this is also E. This is F. This is T is also F. This is in A. This is also in A. So this is the amount. Also, we know they paid 2 different amounts. So they cannot be sitting in 12, 13. They have to pay 2 different amounts. Okay. Now, we know there are 3 window seats, 4 aisle seats and 1 middle seat. Okay. Also, we also know the total amount paid by them. One of them has paid 1000, one of them is free. So the remaining 6 people will have to pay 3600 rupees. Now if you take the average here, it's about 600 rupees. So which means there has to be at least one more person who pays 1000 rupees. Otherwise the fares are not enough to cover. Okay, if I put one more person with 1000 rupees, so there will be 5 people paying 2600 rupees. 2 people with 1000 rupees. Now 2 people with 1000 rupees, 5 people with 3000 with 2600. Again, the average will be against still 520, right? Which is still higher than all the seats. So 5 people, so you need more people to pay 1000 rupees. So if I put 3 people with 1000 rupees, 4 people with 1600, this is possible, right? This is possible. Can I have 4 people with 1000 rupees? If I have 4 people with 1000 rupees, you have 3 people with 600 rupees, which means on an average 200 each. Okay, on an average 200 each, but that will not be possible because all 3 cannot be sitting over here. There are not enough people. Okay, there are not enough people. So we basically know there are 3 people who pay 1000 rupees each, and the remaining 4 pay 1600. One person is free. Okay. Right. Okay. So let's see who are the people who pay 1000. We know B already has paid 1000. Now, if P pays 1000, T cannot pay 1000 because they cannot sit in. Both of them have paid different amounts. Among J and A, they cannot pay 1000. And if G pays 1000, K will also have to pay 1000. So P cannot be the one who's going to pay 1000. G and K will be the one who will pay 1000 each. Okay. So G and K will pay 1000 each. Okay, so between them they have paid 2000. He has paid 1000, so 3000. Among the rest, they will pay. They will have to pay 1600. Between J, A, M, P, T, they will have to pay 1600, and one of them is free. We need to find out who is the free guy. Okay, let's see who is the free guy. Okay, now we know right now we can answer some of the question. Manik is in row 10, is along with J. How many did Jayanta pay for his choice? Jayanta did not pay 1000. 300, 400 or 500. He is in the 300 or 500 category, so it's not 400, 300 or 500. Okay, how much did Gargi pay extra? Gargi has to pay 1000 extra. This is there. Which of the following did not pay any extra for his choice? Kikira has paid 1000. Manik might be the case. Gargi is not the case. Tapesh might be the case. So one of these two. Okay, so let's try to work these two out. Okay. All right. Now, if we need to find out how much money these guys will pay. Okay, 1600 has to be paid by these people. Okay. Now, if P pays 1000, if P is in the 1000 rupee seat, okay, T can be in the 0 rupee seat. Okay, T can be in the 0 rupee seat, which means the remaining 3 people will pay only, among them will pay only 600 rupees. Okay, they will pay only 600 rupees. Now 600 rupees, is it possible for 3 people? These two pay 300. No, these two pay do different amounts. 200, 500, it's not possible. So P cannot pay 1000 rupees. P cannot pay 1000 rupees. P has to be some other seat. Okay, we also know P and T are in 2 different seats, right? P and T are in 2 different value seats. So it cannot be 2 and 3, 3 and 4. 10, 11 is not possible because these seats are already occupied. 11, 12 not possible. 12, 13, 13, 14 is also not possible. So the only way P and T can pay 2 different values is one of them sits in row 20, which is P, and one of them sits in row 21, which will be T, right? And T sits in the free seat, so this will be a free seat. So option 4 will be your correct choice. Now that leaves us with how much did Jayanta pay. Now that depends on which side is he sitting. Now J and M are sitting next to each other and both of them have paid. both of them have paid. J and M are sitting next to each other and both of them have paid. Let's see how is this possible. EF is not possible because one of them will be middle. ED is not possible, one of them is middle. CD is possible, both of them are aisle seats and they are next to each other, right? So if both of them are aisle seats, then both of them will pay amounts. BC is not possible, one of them will be free. AB is not possible, one of them. So only way both of them are going to pay is when they are sitting on C and D positions. Both of them are aisle seats. Because Jayanta sits in a aisle seat, he will have to pay. Aisle seat here is 500. Option 3 will be your correct choice. Option 3 will be your correct choice. So here, as we can see, we can eliminate some of the options and solve the question. Instead of solving the puzzle exactly, we can use the options given and the values and solve. A lot of students miss out on good B schools because they simply don't apply and they are ignorant. They don't do any research beyond the IIMs and they are more worried about their profile and academics, etc., rather than actually getting into a good B schools and making a career in the management field. If you would like personalized B school assistance, all you need to do is fill up the Google document. Link is available in the description of this video and we'll send you individual B school recommendations which fit your profile and your career aspirations. So this one says 6 friends, Anthony, Brad, Charlie, David, Elliot and Fred, A, B, C, D, E, F, each have cards of 4 colors, red, blue, green and yellow. Okay. The two graphs show the distribution of cards with them by friends and by the color of the card. However, the labels identifying the color of the card and the name of the friend got erased as a result of a computer error. So let's quickly go through what the data actually tells you. Okay, so if I were to look at the first graph, okay, the cards with friends graph, it says Fred has these many cards. He has a total of 14 cards, right? Out of which 4 cards are of one color, 2 cards are of a second color. Then you have, this is 6 cards of a third color and 2 cards of the fourth color. But you don't know which color is which. You don't know whether this is red or this is red or this is red or this is red, right? So we don't know exactly what is the, which color represents this. But we also know that Fred, whatever color Fred has 4 cards of, Elliot will have 8 cards of that color. Similarly, David also will have 8 cards of that color. Charlie will have 2 cards of that color. Brad will have 6 and Anthony will have 4 of the first color. Similarly, for the second color, for the third color and the fourth color. Now, if you look at it by the cards by color diagram, right? You don't have any idea which friend is represented by which color here. So yellow has 4 cards by one color with one friend. Then you have, this will be 8 with the next one, 2 with the third one. This is 8 with the fourth one. Then you have 4 and then you have 4 again, right? So, but you don't know whether this is Brad or this is Fred or this is David or this is Charlie. You don't know which one is which, right? And same goes with the other colored cards as well. But whoever has 4 cards of yellow, the same person will have 8 cards of green. The same person will have 6 cards of blue and the same person will have 2 cards of red, right? So obviously it is not Fred. You'll have to look at somebody else, right? Because Fred's distribution is not 4, 2, 6, is 4, 2, 6, 2, but this is 8, 4, 6, 2. Now, given this scenario, we know we need to match the color with the friends, right? And if you look at the questions, if you jump to the questions, your questions are, how many green colored cards does Anthony have? What is the number of blue colored cards with Brad? What is the number of green colored cards with Elliot? Which of the following friends has the highest number of red cards as a percentage of total cards with them? And how many of the following is more than 5, right? So all of this you need to determine. Basically, you'll have to match the cards color with the friends, right, using these numbers, right? So you will have to create a table out of it. In fact, you'll have to create 2 tables out of it. And once you create the 2 tables, I'll tell you how easy it becomes to solve this. Okay, so you will need initial amount of patience to create a table. The first table is pretty straightforward. We have already done something like this. So Anthony has 4 of the first color, then he has 8 of the second color, then 2, and then it's 6, right? Similarly, Brad will have 6 of the first color, then 4, then 2, then 2. I'll not fill this up. I mean, it's like watching paint dry. So I will not do this. Okay. Now the second table, you'll have to do it in a similar sort of a manner, right? Second table, you'll have to again fill it up. I know by color, right? Friend 1, friend 2, friend 3, friend 4, friend 5, friend 6. Okay. So friend 1 has, suppose I call this one as friend 1, right? So he has four cards of yellow. Then he has 8 cards of green. He has 6 cards of blue, and he has 2 cards of red. Similarly, if I take friend 2, this color to be represented by friend 2. So his yellow cards will be 8, right? You can write this down. This will be 2, this will be 8, this will be 4, this will be 4. Similarly, you can do it for friend 2 also. This is 8 is done. Then you have, this is also 8, right? Then you have 4, 4, 6, and 2. Similarly, you can do it for all the other friends as well. So this will take you about 2 or 3 additional minutes. But once you reach this stage, the question becomes pretty straightforward. The rest of the question can be solved in about 3 minutes time. Now you will see why it becomes so easy now. Now I know everything by color, but all I need to do is put the labels of the colors over here. Okay, so let's look at color 1. What can be color 1? Color 1 has a 4, 6, 2, and 2 8s, and a 4. Right? It has 2 4s, 1 6, 1 2, and 2 8s. Right? Now it cannot be red because red does not have any 8 in it. It cannot be blue because it does not have any 8 in it. Can it be green? It can be green because it has 2 8s, 1 6, 1 4, 2 4s, and a 2. Right? Can it be yellow? Yellow does not have any 6. Nobody has 6 yellow cards, but one of the friends has 6 color 1 cards. Right? So it cannot be yellow, it cannot be blue, cannot be red. It has to be green. So we know color 1 is green. Right? So this is color 1. We have matched the 2 tables. Now let's look at color 2. Color 2 has 2 8s, 3 4s, and a 2. 2 8s, 3 4s, and a 2. It's only possible with yellow because blue and red does not have any 8s in it. So color 2 has to be yellow. Now what about color 3 and color 4? Now if you look at color 3, there are 3 2s and 3 6s. And color 4 also has 3 2s and 3 6s. Again, you have 3 2s, 3 6s, 3 2s, and 3 6s. So color 3 and color 4 can be red or blue. Now to split this, I'll have to go with friends. Right? How do I go with friends? Let's try to figure out Anthony. Anthony has 4 greens, 8 yellows. Now let's find a person who has 4 greens and 8 yellows. You have 4 greens, so one of these two, 8 yellows. This. So friend 4 has to be Anthony. 4 greens and 8 yellows. Now his 2 is basically red. So color 3 is red. And color 4 has to be blue. Job done. You have figured out every single color, so on. If you want as an academic purpose, you basically have friend 1, friend 2, friend 3. You can find out who is friend 1, who is friend 2, who is friend 3, matching these following. Right? Just for academic purposes, you can try it. Right? But essentially, you have solved the question as of now. Now, as promised, in about 2 to 3 minutes time, I have actually reached this particular stage. Okay, now I can solve any question that I want to. Let's quickly complete this. How many green colored cards does Anthony have? Anthony has 4 green colored cards. Okay. The number of blue cards with Brad is what percentage of number of green cards with Elliot? Okay, blue with Brad is 2. Green with Elliot is 8. 2 out of 8 is 25%. So I like to mark 25 as the answer. Okay. Question number 3. Which of the following friends has the highest number of red cards as a percentage of the total cards with him? Okay, red as a percentage of total cards with him. Okay, let's check with Anthony. Anthony has 2 out of this total. The total is 12 plus 6, 18, 18 plus 2, 20. So his only is 20%, 10%. Brad has 2 out of, this is 4 plus 4, 8, 8 plus 6, 14. Now 2 out of 14 is better than 2 out of 20, so Anthony is out. Let's look at Elliot. Elliot is 6 out of, this is 14 plus 14, 28. That's 3 out of 14. Now 3 out of 14 is better than 2 out of 14, so this is out. Let's look at Fred. Fred is 6 out of 8 plus 2, 10, 14. 6 out of 14 is better than 3 out of 14. Option D will be your correct choice. Okay, and the last one, how many of the following is more than 5? Which of these numbers is more than 5? How many of these numbers? So you have to mark whether one of these numbers is more than 5, or 2 of these numbers is more than 5, or 3 of them is more than number of 5. Okay, so let's check. Number of green cards with Brad. Green cards with Brad is 6, so this is correct. More than 5. Number of red cards with Anthony. Red cards with Anthony is 2, so not. Number of blue cards with David. Blue cards with David is also 6, so 3, standard size. Number of yellow cards with Elliot. Yellow cards with Elliot is 8, so this is also 3. 1, 2, 3. 3 of them are more. It's a pretty nice set. You would have definitely seen something like this where you have stacked across percentages. You will probably see it as percentage by, say, specializations, percentages by colleges, or multiple sort of these things come up in the mocks, etc. But this one is slightly challenging because you have taken out the labels out of it. You'll have to do some amount of trial and error to solve this. The key point was first writing the data neatly. If you write down the data neatly and in the order as we have discussed, right, your life becomes super easy. Within 2 minutes you can get the entire set. After that, basically another 2 minutes to answer the question. A moderate level difficulty, about 8, max 10 minutes in an exam situation. If you get stuck anywhere with respect to preparing for LRDI, there are some free resources which are available on our YouTube channel. We have a playlist on how to prepare for LRDI. It includes which are the topics which you need to focus on, how much do you need to spend on each area. Also, we tell you how to go about picking sets in the examination, right? So if you are not able to pick even a single set, this is a good framework to start with and build on for your CAT LRDI preparation. If you want any further assistance in terms of speaking with us, getting personal guidance, doing more practice, following a more structured path to LRDI preparation, please do look at our Ultimate LRDI course. Okay, so this is a set which is basically on understanding what this graph says. Then you have a few conditions, quite a few. It's pretty lengthy in terms of the size of data which is given. And if you look at the questions, it says what was Manish's score, how many students scored more than this, what was the difference between the highest and the lowest, who scored the highest aggregate. So the question seems determinable once you get over the initial size of the data and how the data is represented. So let's see what this says. 6 friends, Harish, Imran, John, Kadir, Lakshman, Manish, H, I, J, K, L and M. 6 friends were comparing the scores in 5 subjects: English, Hindi, Science, Social Science and Maths. Their mentor, Professor Berlin, has created the following chart for the deviation from the lowest score obtained by one or more of these friends. So this is not the score by these people, this is deviation from the lowest score. Okay, so if somebody has scored the lowest, okay, that is taken as a reference, and you check how much the other has scored, how much the others have scored. So there's an information in example given. So according to the chart, in English, Manish obtained the lowest. Okay, so if you observe carefully, English, there is no information about Manish. Okay, Manish is missing. So basically it's 0. Manish is 0. It's not missing. Manish is 0. So the deviation from minimum is going to be 0. So Manish got the lowest score. Okay. Right. Similarly, I can say that this is missing, which is what? Lakshman. Right. Lakshman is, no, not Lakshman. Harish is missing from the Hindi chart. So Harish got the lowest here. In the science chart, Imran got the lowest. So he is missing. In social science, John got the lowest, and there is one more missing. Manish got the lowest. Both of them got the joint lowest. And in maths, Kabir got the lowest. So that is missing. So these are deviations from the lowest. These are not the scores. These are deviation from the lowest. And it further says Harish scored 31 more than Manish. So Harish is 31 here. So it's Manish plus 31. Similarly, Imran scored 24 more than Manish. Okay, so now it's basically you have to tabulate this data. I mean, you'll have to tabulate the data with people H, I, J, K, L, M across the subjects. You have English, Hindi, science, social science, and maths. And then you have to figure out, you also need to check who's the lowest. So it's a test of your eyesight, but it'll take you about 1.5 to 2 minutes to tabulate it neatly. Okay. Once you tabulate it, I think the rest of the questions should be doable. Okay. So I've marked who's got the lowest as well. As I said, 1.5 minutes to reach this stage. Be a little careful. Don't rush into it. Okay. Let's see. First one says marks scored by each of the 6 is an integer. Okay. Maximum marks is in a subject is 100. So none of these scores can be 100. Even the one which are missing. So for example, this is Kadir is lowest, which is Manish, plus 32, A plus 32. So A plus 32 has to be less than or equal to 100. Similarly, B plus 27 has to be less than or equal to 100. So all those criteria are required. We'll check that if we need. John's score in Hindi. John's score in Hindi. John in Hindi is B plus 15. So B plus 15 is 3 less than Lakshman in social science. Lakshman in social science is D plus 18 minus 3, which means B should be equal to D. Okay, so B should be equal to D. Okay, third is done. Fourth says the 6 friends together scored 1900 marks across the 5 subjects. So if I add everything, it will be 1900 marks. We'll come to that later. Lakshman score in English. Lakshman in English, that's A plus 26. Is same as Kadir in social science. Kadir social science equals D plus 26. So A is equal to D. So B is equal to D is equal to A. Okay. Okay. Sixth one, Harish in English, A plus 31 is same as Kadir in science. Kadir in science is C plus 36. C plus 36. So A should be C plus 5. So this is C plus 5. And the last one, Manish in maths. Manish in maths, that's E plus 24. Should be same as John in Hindi. John in Hindi is B plus 15. So E should be B minus 9. Okay. This is done. So let's now use the fourth statement. So let me just erase this out. Okay. Now we need to be a little careful when we are adding this. Okay. Fourth statement says 6 friends across scored 1900 marks across the 5 subjects. So if I add this column plus the second column plus the third plus the fourth plus the fifth, that should add up to 1900. But how are you supposed to add? Okay, this is not 26, this is A plus 26. Similarly, this is A plus 32, this is A plus 19, this is A plus 24, this is A plus 31, this is A plus 0. So each of them will have a term A. So A plus A plus A plus A plus A, that will be 6A. And then you add the deviations. If you add the deviations, 26 plus 24 is 50, 31 plus 19 is another 50, 50 plus 50 is 100, plus 32, this should be 132. Similarly, when you add for B, you'll have again 6 B's plus the deviations. That's 40 plus 20 plus 27 is 47, plus 15 is 62, plus 9 is 71. Okay, this will be 6C. What will be the deviations? 42, 78, 86, plus 13 is 99. This is again 6D. There are 2 zeros here. So that's 44, 51, 55. And this will be 6E plus 45 plus 34 is 79, 89, 98, 127. Right, and if I add all of them, this should be 1900. So 6 times A plus B plus C plus D plus E plus, what is the total? 99 plus 71 is 170. 170 plus 132 is 302. This part is 302, and this gives you 182. That's 484. So this should be 1900. So plus 484 equals 1900. So 6 times this should be 1900 minus 484. That's 16, 1416. So 6 times A to E equals 1416. So A to E will be 1416 divided by 6. That will be 236. A to E adds up to 236. Now we know everything in terms of either A or C. Okay, so let's put everything in terms of B. So you have B, B, B. This is A is also equal to B. D is equal to B. B is equal to C plus 5. So C should be B minus 5. B equals E plus 9. So E should be B minus 9. Okay, so you get 5B. 5 and 9 is 14 equals 236. So B should be equal to 236 plus 14 is 250 divided by 5. That is 50. So B is 50, D is 50, A is 50, C should be 45, and E should be 41. Okay, that part is done. We know the total A to E is also 236. Okay, once that is done, I think the rest of the questions should be solvable. So I've written this down. All the madness is now over. So let's see what is the questions now. What is Manish's score in math? Manish is E plus 24, 41 plus 24 is 65. Question number 2. How many students scored more than 310 marks across the 5 subjects? Okay, now we know everyone will score at least A plus B plus C plus D plus E. Right, now just like we did for column wise total, which will be 6 times A plus the deviations, row wise total will be something like this: A to E plus the deviations across the row. So for example, Harish's deviations would be 31 plus 13, 44 plus 4, 48 plus 19 will be 67. A to E plus 67. So you need to reach 310 minus 236. That will be 74. You need at least 74 more in deviations. Right? You need 74 more in deviations. Harish has only 67. So he will not reach 310. So Harish does not reach 310. Let's add Imran's deviations. Imran will be 29 plus 27 is 53. 60 plus 9 only 69. So he will not reach 310 in deviations. You need to reach 74. Let's look at John. That's 34. 68 plus 8 is 76. So John will be more. So plus 76. Okay, Kadir will be, this looks pretty straightforward. It is definitely more than 74, but let's add this. This is 62, 89, 91, 121. Okay, this is pretty big. Okay, Lakshman, if I add Lakshman, that is 30, 63, 63 plus 47, 70, 110. Okay, this also works. And Manish would be, if I add this, this is 15, 17 plus 21, it's only 41. So Manish does not satisfy. So John, Kadir and Lakshman will have more than 310. The other three will have lesser than 310. So 3 people will have more than 310. Now we can also solve question number 4 straight away before we go to question number 3. Question number 4 says who scored the highest aggregate across the 5 subjects. Across the 5 subjects, it's Kadir. That's 236 plus 121. He has the highest, option A. So 2 in one shot. And the last one, what was the difference between the highest and the lowest obtained by the 6 friends across the 5 subjects? Now we know the lowest. We know the lowest of the lowest. These are the lowest scores. And the lowest of the lowest is 41, which is E. So the lowest is 41. What is the highest possible obtained in any subject? Okay, again, this plus the highest along the row. Now this is E plus 34. That's 41 plus 34 is 75. Here the highest is 50 plus 26, 76. Here the highest is 45 plus 36, 81. Here the highest is 50 plus 27, 77. And here the highest is 50 plus 32, 82. So the highest across all the subjects is 82. Lowest across all the subjects is 41. Difference is 82 minus 41, which is again 41. Right? It's a very interesting set. It's very interesting in the way the data is actually presented. You need to be patient at multiple levels. First, you need to understand how the data is actually being presented. These missing numbers are not missing. These are actually zeros. Then know that you have to tabulate it slowly. Once you tabulate it, then go to the rest of the questions. Be patient, solve it. In an exam situation, it's going to take you between 9 to 12, 13 minutes. It's a moderate level set, but pretty lengthy, and it is going to test your patience. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel. Click on the notifications button so that you are notified when we are releasing our next set of videos. Please do like and follow us on Facebook, Instagram and LinkedIn. If you want to connect with us, you can connect with us through WhatsApp and Telegram as well. All the relevant links are available in the description of this particular video. Hi, this is perhaps one of the easiest set in CAT 2019 slot 1. It says 5 vendors are being considered for a service. The service evaluation committee evaluated each vendor on 6 aspects: cost, customer service, features, quality, reach and reliability. So there are 6 parameters, right? Each of these evaluations are on a scale of 0 verse to 100. Perfect. The evaluation scores on these aspects are shown in the radar chart. Okay, so your key point would be to actually read this radar chart. Once you read this radar chart, your job is done. For example, vendor 1 obtains a score of 52 on reliability. So vendor 1 is this one, right? He obtains a score of 50 on reliability. Vendor 2 obtains a score of 45 on features. Vendor 3 obtains a score of 90 on cost, and so on, right? And if you look at the questions, it says on which aspect is the median score the least. A vendor's final score is the average of all 6. What is the highest final score? List all the vendors who are among the top 2. List of all the vendors who are in the top 3. You actually don't even need calculations. You can basically just observe and answer the questions very easily. So let us go one by one and try to solve them. First one says, on which aspect is the median score of the 5 vendors the least? Median is the middle value when you either arrange it in ascending or descending order. Now we already know it is from 0 to 90, and the middle value can be found very easily. So this will be the middle value here. So 1, 2, 3. This will be the middle value here. 1, 2, 3. This will be the middle value here. 1, 2, 3. This will be the middle value here. Then 1, 2, 3. This will be the middle value here. There is a dotted line here. 1, 2. This will be the middle value here. Right? So where does the lowest middle value come? It either looks like either customer service or this. This is 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. It's almost exactly equal to 50. Right? So customer service is the lower value. Question number 2. It says a vendor's final score is the average of the scores across all 6 aspects. Which vendor has the highest final score? Now, all these vendors have 6 scores, right? And all the scores have the same weightages. Nowhere does it say that reliability has more importance than cost, or reach has lesser importance than customer service, etc. So all you need to do is take the total, divide by 6. That will be the average for each of them. So instead of dividing it by 6, whichever vendor has the highest total will also have the highest average. Right, that is one need to do. Now we can add up all these values pretty easily and do it. Right, instead of trying to do that, let's just look at by observation. Now if you look at it, vendor 3, right, he has 2 very high leads across all the other people. Right, so for example, vendor 3 and vendor 4 are 2 contenders. Now let's compare this. Now the gap in reliability is pretty big, right, and that cannot be offset by features. This gap in customer service is roughly equal to the one in quality, and then you have reach and customer and cost also. So we definitely know vendor 3 beats vendor 4. Now let's check vendor 3 and vendor 2. If we check vendor 3 and vendor 2, again there's a huge gap here, right? There's a reasonable gap here. There's this gap and this gap roughly offset each other. There is another gap in favor of vendor 3. There is another gap in favor of vendor 3, and there is another gap in favor of vendor 3. So we can very clearly say that vendor 2 is also out. Now let's check with vendor 1. Vendor 1 is the light one, right? So again, there is a pretty decent gap here, right? Here the gap is on the other side. Okay. Here you have, again, the gap is very small, right? Here vendor 3 beats vendor 1 again, vendor 3 beats vendor 1 again, and vendor 3 beats vendor 1 here also. So we can very clearly say that 3 is also going to be higher than 1. Easily mark 1 as the answer. Now the third one again is an observation question rather than a calculation one. Let's see what this says. The list of vendors who are among the top 2 scorers in the maximum number of aspects. So to give an example, reliability, the top 2 are vendor 3 and vendor 5. Now if I do the same for the others, we need to figure out who comes the maximum number of time. In reach, the top 2 are vendor 1 and vendor 5. In quality, the top 2 are vendor 1 and vendor 2. In features, the top 2 are vendor 4 and vendor 5. In customer service, the top 2 are vendor 4 and vendor 1. And in cost, the top 2 are vendor 3 and vendor 2. Right. So now you need to figure out who comes the maximum number of time. Now 3 comes twice. Right. 5 comes 1, 2, 3, 3 times. So 5 should be present in the answer, but 3 should not be present in the answer. So this is out. This is out. So whether it's 1 and 5 or 2 and 5, let's look at 1. 1 comes 1, 2, 3 times. So this will be the answer. 2 comes only 2 times. Right. It's pretty straightforward. Option 2. And the last one in the set, list of all vendors who are among the top 3 in all six aspects. So you should be present in the top 3 in all the 6 aspects. Okay. So you have 1, 3 and none of these. So let's check 1. Is 1 present in all of them? 1 is present in reliability. 1 is present in reach. 1 is present in quality. But 1 is not there in features. Features 1 is the lowest. So this is out. This is out. So it should be either 3 or none of the vendors. Let's look at 3. 3 is present in reliability, reach, quality, features, customer service, as well as cost, right? So option 3. Very easy set. Your biggest challenge would be to read the graph. If you read the graph carefully, the question can be solved using observation itself. A must-do set in the slot 1. That completes this set. A lot of students miss out on good B schools because they simply don't apply and they are ignorant. They don't do any research beyond the IIMs and they are more worried about their profile and academics, etc., rather than actually getting into a good B schools and making a career in the management field. If you would like personalized B school assistance, all you need to do is fill up the Google document. Link is available in the description of this video, and we'll send you individual B school recommendations which fit your profile and your career aspirations. This is basically a question which is on quant based reasoning. You have maths involved, logical ability involved. It's a very nicely made question. It's not very difficult. Actually, this question can be solved visually, and we'll try to solve it visually as much as possible. And before we jump into the analysis of the set, have a look at the questions. At least 3 of the questions look, like a definite sort of a question. From which area did this guy retire? In which year did the faculty member join? What was the age of the new faculty member who joined? And then second is one where you'll probably have some additional data. So let's look at the set as such. Okay, a management institute was established on January 1st, 2000. Okay, with 3, 4, 5, and 6 faculty members in marketing, organizational behavior, finance, and operational management, OM and OB. Okay, respectively to start with. No faculty member retired or joined the institute in the first 3 months. So from January to April, nothing changed. In the next 4 years, the institute recruited 1 faculty member in each of the 4 areas. All these faculty members who joined the institute subsequently were 25 years old at the time of joining. All of them joined on 1st April. During these 4 years, one of the faculty members aged 60 retired. The following diagram gives the area-wise average age in terms of number of years completed of faculty members as on 1st April 2000, 2001, 2002 and 2003. So you have data as of the average age of the group as on these dates. Okay, what it says is that from January 2000 to April, there is no change, right? Now 1, 2, 3, 4. There are 4 instances where changes can happen. What can be the changes? A faculty member whose age was 25 years was recruited. A faculty member whose age was 25 members was recruited in each of the 4 areas, right? So 1 member joined marketing, 1 member joined OB, 1 member joined finance, 1 member joined OM. Further, during these 4 years, one of the faculty members whose age was 60 retired. So there is only 1 out of these 4 departments where he retired. So 4 people joined, 1 in each department. And there is 1 department where 1 member retired as well, right? He went out. So there will be a change in graph based on that. And if you look at the questions, it says which area did the faculty member retire, which area did the new faculty member join into finance, what is the average age, what is the age of the new faculty member who joined in organization management, OM I guess, and then this is an additional data. Okay. So now if you look at a normal scenario, if nothing happened, every year the average age of the institute will keep of the department will keep on rising. Everyone will age by 1 year and the overall average will also increase by 1 year. So there will be an upward trend, right? And given the ages, they are roughly around 45, 50 years old on an average. The person who's joined is 25. So every time a person joins, there will be a drop in the average age. There will be a drop in the average age, right? And the person who's retired is 60. So there will again be a drop in the average age because the person who's retired is more than the average age of the average age of the group. So every time these changes happen, there will be a bump, there will be a change and there will be a drop. Let's see how many drops are there. There is 1 drop here. There is 1 drop in OB here. There is 1 drop in finance and another drop in finance. There are 2 drops in finance. And then there is 1 drop in organization management. Now this makes our life really, really easy, right? For 2 reasons. So let me explain. I mean, this will probably take you longer. This does not have to be done in an exam situation, but this could be used to make the question a little bit more complicated. Why am I saying this makes our life easy? Is two reasons. First is, we now know there are 5 drops, right? And we expected 5 drops, 5 changes, right? So we know every place where there are 5 changes. We also know in finance there are 2 changes. So one is because of a faculty member joining and one is because of a faculty member retiring. So we can answer question number 1 straight away. Finance, faculty member retired in finance. Now, why can we be so sure, right? Because there are 5 changes, and only way that you can have 2 changes is because of a faculty member joining as well as a faculty member retiring. Now, how could this question have been made complicated? The first complication could have been when both of them happened at the same time, right? If both of them happened at the same time, then the question would have been slightly more complicated. So a person retired and a person joined at the same time. So there will be only 4 changes, 1 in each department. And then you will assume that, oh, we'll have to figure out which department the faculty member joined and retired, which department the faculty member retired. Then you'll have to calculate the values, right? So that is one thing. The second thing which is there is the change could have happened in 2000 itself, right? So if the change had happened in 2000, we don't have information about 1st January 2000, right? We have ages from 1st April 2000. So if anyone joined here, the average age would change then itself. And then it could have continued like it is. And then just to make our life miserable, you could have had the person could have joined in 2000 and somebody else could have retired in 2002. So your graph will go something like this. We will assume that this is the person who's joining, right? Whereas the person could have joined here, or the reverse would have happened. So we don't know exactly. So this question is actually much more easier than it could have been made complicated, right? So we already know that person retired in finance. We have already answered 1 question. Now let's look at this in more detail. Okay, we know the retirement happened in finance. So I'll mark the month, mark the year where the recruitment happened. Now marketing, only one time there is a drop. So the recruitment happened in 2001. Recruitment happened in 2001. You can actually verify 49 into 3. 50 into 3 is 150. 150 minus 2 is 148 will be the age in combined age in 2000. Then everyone will age by 1 year. So 3 people age, that will become 151. A person aged 25 joined. So the total become 176 divided by 4 will give you 44. That's the average. You can verify that. So the person joined here. In OB, the person joined in 2003. We'll come to finance later. And OM, the person joined in 2001. Now let's look at finance. What happens in finance? There's a drop from 2000 to 2001, and then there's another drop from 2001 to 2002, right? So one of them is because of retirement, one of them is because of new person joining. Okay, let's see what happens here. 50.2, there are 5 people in finance. So 50.2 into 5 will be 250 plus 1. 251 will be the combined age of these people. Next year, everyone will age by 1 year. So the total will be 256. But the average is only 49. The average is only 49. Now, 49 can be because one person of age 25 joined, or can be because one person of age 60 retired. If one person of age 25 joined, the total age would have been 281. Total number of people would have been 5 plus 1, 6. This divided by 6 is not 49. Right? So we know that the person of age 60 retired. You can verify. 256 minus 60 will be 196. 196 divided by 4. From 5 there are now only 4 people. 196 divided by 4 is 49. So the retirement happened in 2001. Which means the recruitment happened in 2002. You can verify this. 196. Next year, everyone will grow up by 1 years. Four people now. So 196 plus 4, 200. Plus a person of age 25 joins, 225. Divided by 5 now, because there are 5 people now. That will be 45, which is the average age over here. Right? And just to confirm, just to add it up, the number of members, marketing will increase by 1. So there are 4 people here. Organization behavior will increase by 1. So 5 people here. Finance, increase of 1, decrease of 1. So back to 5. And OM will increase by 1. So 7 people over here. Okay. Nothing much to do. Let's go to the questions and try to solve them. Question number 1, we have already answered. Which area did faculty member retire? Finance, option 1. Question number 3, which year did the new faculty member join in finance area? In finance area, the person joined in 2002, option 3. Question number 4, what is the age of the new faculty member who joined OM as on 1st April 2003? Now, OM person joined in 2001, so he was 25 then. 2002, he will be 26. 2003, he will be 27. Option 3. Now, question 2 is the most different from the remaining ones. So let's see what this says. Professors Naresh and Devesh, 2 faculty members in marketing area, have been with the institute since the inception. Okay. They share a birthday which falls on 20th November. Okay. One of them was born in 1947, other was born in 1950. Okay. On April 1st, 2005, what was the age of the 3rd faculty member who has been in the same area since inception? Okay. So let's try what is their age. The combined age is 148 here. 148 divided by 3 will be 49.33. Right. So what will be the age? This is 1st April 2000. Right. This is 1st April 2000. So the person who was born in 1947, this is November 1947. So in November 2000, he will be 53. So right now he's 52. And the third person is, the second person is 50. So minus 3, 49. So this is 101 years. So the third person's age is 47. So his age is 47. On 1st April 2000, his age is 47. You need to find what will be his age on 1st April 2005. 2005, 1st April, his age will be plus 5 years. So 52. Option 4 will be our correct choice. Right? Not very difficult. It's a very, very nice question. You can actually do this question very visually, and I've also told you how this question can be made more complicated. There are obviously multiple ways this can be made more complicated, and in your mocks you'll actually see more complicated versions of this, but this is what actually came up in the actual CAT examination. In an actual exam situation, maybe about 8 to 10 minutes max to solve this. That completes this session on must-do sets for CAT LRDI preparation. Please do let us know in the comments below how you like this. Please do share this with your friends who are preparing for CAT and other MBA entrance examinations. You can follow us on Facebook, Instagram and LinkedIn, or you can connect with us on WhatsApp and Telegram groups. The links are all available in the description of this particular video. If you're facing any problem with CAT LRDI sets, you can look at our YouTube channel playlist on how to prepare for CAT LRDI. If you want any specialized, personalized attention on LRDI preparation in the most structured manner, you can also look at our Ultimate LRDI course. This is the most comprehensive course which is available in the market. Till we meet again the next time, goodbye and all the best.